My name is Barry Crocock and I'm a senior Java developer in Terminalfour. Well, I mixed up web and Java. So, just to remind everybody about this syntax change, like, templates are now known as content types, and I'm going to make the mistake. So, what are the new things available in content types? Previously, when you created a content type, or as it was a template, you weren't able to change the name of it. It was fixed, that name was fixed, and you couldn't change it. And similarly with any of the element names that you created, you couldn't change any of those, so they were fixed. So if you made a mistake, or the name of the template or content type didn't reflect what you actually created it for, well then you weren't able to change it. And then finally, you're now able to duplicate content types. So supposing you made one before that was quite similar to one you were going to make again, if you were going to do it again, you had to go back in to the whole process of giving it a name, creating all the elements, all the sizes, all the formatters, etc. So now it's possible to actually duplicate the content types and change them. So in content types, when you create a content type, what happens is you're actually creating a table in the database, okay? And this table, the name of the table is based on the name of the content type. And because of that, it was kind of difficult to rename them. So what we did was we created another field in templates so you can actually create an alias name for the content. For the content type. And even if you create a content type that has a similar name to something else, it'll be renamed in the background, but the table will be named the same, but it'll be renamed and there'll be no clashing of names. And if it's a SQL reserved word, it'll just be changed in the background and you'll be able to use that word as the name of your content type. And similarly, when you create this table, when you create the content type elements, okay, they create columns within the table, okay? And again, previously you weren't able to, but now you're able to rename those to whatever you want. And if there's a clash with anything or whatever else, that's all done in the background, it's handled, and you don't have to worry about putting in any SQL reserved words or whatever, okay? Now, duplicating content types. So the entire content type is duplicated. So the name, element sizes, the formatters, and any kind of sharing that existed previously is all duplicated, okay? Now, it's possible to add and remove new content types as you're actually doing the duplication process, okay? The formatters are duplicated, but it's not possible to edit them, but you can see how fast this process is. It's not a big deal to go in afterwards and to change them. And content types can be duplicated into existing groups. So supposing you were making new groups for a new website and you wanted to copy one of the content types from one group to another, when you duplicate this, you can pick which group you're going to put it into, and then you can duplicate it. And you can also duplicate the sharing if you want to, or remove it, whatever you require. So currently now in SiteManager 73001, it's possible to duplicate content types. Now obviously for people who are web developers, it'd be more useful if you could duplicate other assets. So the work in progress is to be able to duplicate navigations, page layouts, which were formerly styles, lists and workflows. And for people who are web developers, I think the first two here would be quite useful, navigations and page layouts. So I'll just do a quick demo. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to reverse the process. I'm going to duplicate a content type, and then I'm going to manipulate the names that are in it. Okay. So, page with heading. You can see there's a new button here, a duplicate button. So when I click that, you see it has the same things, layout basically as creating a new template. I'm going to leave the name the way it is, page with heading. You can see then when I actually duplicate it, there's a name clash but it will handle that. Okay? These are the elements. It's just quite simple. I'll add a new element and I'll give it a SQL reserved word name. So select, which you wouldn't be normally allowed to use. Plain text, add element. Okay. Now these are the formatters that are going to be copied, but you will not be able to edit them until the actual duplication process has taken place. And at the end here, you can see this is the current group that the content type is in. So if you can duplicate it into that group, or you can pick another group, which is what I'll do. So I'll pick self-service admins, and then I'll share it into another group as well, just to show you the sharing of content types. So self-service users, okay? Now click duplicate. Now this is the original one. It's still there. And here you can see in self-service admins, there's a brand new content type has been created. You see its name has been altered because there's a clashing of names, okay? And then in self-service users, here's the shared template. All right, now this is editable because I'm logged in as administrator, but you can make it read-only or whatever you want for other users that are allowed access to content types. So I'll edit this again. I'll just get rid of this because it's kind of doesn't really reflect. So I'd say just say new page with heading. Okay. The elements, I just change this to select one. You see now, these are all editable. So you can add in the new content types, the formatters, the new elements that you created for this. Okay? And I click update. And we go in again. Oops, that didn't go. Sorry, edit. Oh, I know what happened. Yep. Okay. New page with heading. I'll change this element. Select one. Click update. And there we go. You have the new name. And we should have the new element. Select one. Okay, so that's basically how content types work. Duplication and changing of names.
Thanks, Barry.
Okay. Any questions?
First of all, I'd like to thank Max for tweeting. This should have been there 5 years ago. Thanks, Max. And also, did anyone else spot Barry's mistake in his talk there? He said formatter. They're content layouts and page layouts. Sorry, we let you open this one. Great. Smart Max, sorry, Max is the...
Hidden in the way in there, did we just see you also change the size of a content type element?
Yeah, I can do that, yeah. It's possible.
That was the biggest pain in the ass before, so if that's also there.
It's not possible, yeah.
You've got a mic there, Gene. Yeah.
A couple of things we'd find really useful with content types is versioning. If somebody's made a change to a formatter, then we can, or whatever a formatter is called now, content layout.
Yeah.
Then we can roll back to a previous version or something. Is there any plans to put versioning of?
They are actually versioned in the background.
What there isn't there right now is a UI to make the versioning available to you. All assets in the product are all versioned completely. What we need to do is enhance the UI to allow you to flip backwards and forwards between different versions of the assets. This is actually related to one of the topics for conversation tomorrow, where people have asked us about maintaining versioning information using external systems like IDEs and things like that, and SVN and other source control systems, which is actually one of the topics for tomorrow. So we're trying to figure out the best way for approaching that. But they are versioned. You can actually go backwards and forwards through the database, not ideal.
Can we also now switch content types to be system and non-system easily, or do we still have to do that as a database update? Because we use that to set access control templates and things.
Not yet.
I think that still has to be done in the database currently.
Okay.
A database currently.
And I think Ian, my colleague, had an idea about inheritance. I don't know if you want to ask about inheritance on...
Ian, you've got a question whether you knew it or not.
Yeah, it's essentially inheritance, like class inheritance would work in Java. So you start with a parent content type or formatter. I think it's still formatters in our version. And then you can add child classes to it, basically. So you might have some common elements that you want to repeat across many, many content types.
Okay.
Any chance?
It's a nice idea.
I think that's a perfect conversation point for Paul Kelly over the coffee break.
Or possibly in the bar later on. Sounds true.
No, I know people have asked about more inheritance capabilities between assets before, and it's something definitely we need to figure out how it's actually going to work and then how it's implemented. Because remember, at the end of the day, this is all ending up as being SQL tables or tables in the database. So we want to keep that simplicity, but then give you the power to manipulate things, even if it should have been done 5 years ago, max. If there are no more questions, I think we're running about 15. Yeah, we're running about 15, 20 minutes late. So.